A new trailer for Pokemon Legends EA's upcoming Mega Dimensions DLC has been released, revealing that for the first time in Pokemon history, monsters can go even further beyond over level 100. But this new mechanic and the DLC as a whole may not be exactly what you thought. So let's break down the full trailer for Mega Dimensions and see what secrets we can uncover. First and foremost, the DLC will be coming out on December 10th, just a little over a month away, which may surprise everyone that expected it would be coming out in February, as that was the date listed on the eShop, but I believe this date is actually just the latest you can still purchase the DLC and get the early purchase bonus. But regardless of when you buy it, the new story content will unlock on December 10th, which means if it follows previous Pokemon DLCs, will technically unlock on the night of December 9th for those in America. Keep in mind this is based on when the Scarlet and Violet DLC released, so it's possible this could change for ZA. But regardless, I will of course be live right here on this channel, streaming the whole DLC as soon as it drops, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet to stay tuned. Now let's get into the actual trailer, which immediately begins with the introduction of a new character named Ansha. And if she looks kind of familiar, well, there's a few reasons why. The most popular theory going around is that she might just be the daughter of Diantha, Kalos' former champion during Pokemon X and Y. In fact, their names in Japanese even both reference the same type of flower. But it's very possible she may not be Diantha's daughter, and instead be Diantha herself. As you can see, Ansha's traveling with Hoopa, a mythical Pokemon most known for its ability to create portals through space and time. So this very well could be a younger Diantha from the past, or even an alternate timeline. Obviously, they have different names, but Diantha is an actress in the present day, so that could totally be a celebrity name that she took up, with Ansha being her real birth name. However, there's one more curious coincidence with this sassy lost child, as the colors of her outfit seem to closely resemble another mythical Pokemon, Darkrai. The crimson red of Darkrai's collar may not exactly match the pink of Ansha's scarf, but the overall color scheme is similar enough to be more than just coincidence. After all, she is traveling with Hoopa, who has literally teleported a bunch of legendaries in past games, though never specifically Darkrai. But speaking of Hoopa, in case you're not familiar with it, Hoopa was one of 3 mythical Pokemon introduced in Generation 6 alongside Diancie and Volcanion. These 3 Pokemon have always been interesting because they didn't really get much lore in their original appearances, likely because it was meant to be in the cancelled Pokemon Z. But being a sort of spiritual successor to the X and Y sequel that never was, Legends EA is finally giving these Pokemon the in-game events they deserved, with Diancie being available right now through Mystery Gift. And I actually made a video covering the full gameplay of its event if you want to check it out after this one. Hoopa of course will be getting its own time to shine in this upcoming DLC, seemingly being the key to its entire plot. And as for Volcanion, well, let's just hope Game Freak still remembers it exists. Like I said, Hoopa is most well known for its ability to teleport objects, people, and especially Pokemon across space and time using its magical hoops, or rings. In the main series games, this was most famously seen in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where Hoopa's portals started popping up in random locations across the region, letting you travel through them to encounter many different legendary Pokemon, and it seems something similar may be going on in this upcoming Mega Dimensions DLC. As you can see, these mysterious distortions are popping up all around Lumiose, but these aren't quite Hoopa portals, at least not yet. In order to actually travel through them, we'll need to fuel up Hoopa with its favorite food, Onigiri! Get it? Feeding Hoopa a donut will awaken its power to widen these distortions into full portals that we can actually travel through and enter the mysterious dimension known as Hyperspace Lumiose. Well, maybe not so mysterious anymore, as it looks to be an exact copy of the Lumiose we're all very familiar with, except devoid of any color and with some slightly different Pokemon inside. Now, if you read the original announcement for the DLC, you would know that it was already announced we'd be going to a place called Hyperspace Lumiose. But I assume the majority of players didn't read this random line of text on the Pokemon site and are rightfully disappointed that we still don't get to leave the city. Well, technically we do, but as you can see, the bits of hyperspace are pretty much copy-pasted parts of Lumiose exactly. This obviously makes sense from a lore perspective, as it literally is an alternate reality version of the same city, but it certainly doesn't help the narratives of Game Freak being lazy. Once again, it'll fall on the gameplay to make up for it, and what is no doubt the most shocking reveal of the DLC might already do it, As for the first time in a main series Pokemon game, inside these hyperspace pockets, you'll find Pokemon beyond level 100. This includes both wild Pokemon and ones under the control of trainers, though I gotta wonder how these trainers got in here. Actually, besides this one guy, every other trainer we see is a hologram, so doesn't seem like there are actually a lot of people inside hyperspace. There's no Nurse Joy in the Pokemon Center, and no random NPCs walking around, which lends to the eerie, surreal, and ominous vibe of this bizarre void dimension. But as you likely noticed, it seems every single Pokemon we encounter in here, whether it's wild or with a trainer, will be over level 100, which begs the question, how can we keep up? Well, this is where the donuts come in. In order to enter hyperspace, you'll need to feed Hoopa a donut first, with different donuts having different effects. You make these donuts using berries, either regular ones you've already picked up, or new hyper berries that you pick up within hyperspace. As you can see, each berry has a set boost that they give to your entire Pokemon party's level, and the amount of calories they give. But Hoopa's definitely not trying to watch its weight, as it seems to burn through these calories very quickly. So the higher calorie count of the donut you feed it, the longer you'll be able to stay within hyperspace. And as you can see, these calories continue running down even when in battles. We don't see exactly what happens when the calories run out, but I assume you get kicked back out to the regular Lumiose. But more importantly, these donuts also boost your entire party's level while in hyperspace, meaning this boost over level 100 will only be temporary as long as you're within hyperspace, not carry back into the regular Lumiose. I personally love this change because so far the main problem with Pokemon's DLCs have been that most players have a full party of level 100s by the time they release, so they end up being way too easy. It seems Game Freak have finally found a solution that doesn't completely break the level 100 cap, since it's only temporary. This does mean you'll have to get good at baking though, cause some of these hyperspace Pokemon get pretty ridiculous, with the strongest one I spotted in the trailer being this level 170 Malamar. But I imagine they'll be able to go all the way up to level 200, if not even higher. I mean, why stop at just 200? How crazy would it be if this is actually an endless roguelike mode, and the hyperspace zones just keep getting stronger and stronger all the way up to 1,000? Realistically, I don't think the donuts could go that high, as there seem to be just 4 slots for berries. But only a minimum of 3 are required. As you can see, when 3 berries are slotted in, you can already create a donut, so it's very possible more slots unlock as you progress the story. And you can then make even stronger donuts. In fact, I think these better ingredients might just be the key to creating some very special donuts we see on the Pokemon website. That's right, Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre are coming back, which likely means the other missing Hoenn Mega Evolutions will also return, including Rayquaza. At least I really hope so, man, I love Rayquaza. Considering its importance to the overall lore of Mega Evolution, I wouldn't be surprised if Mega Ray is the final boss of this DLC, but they may also want to save that honor for a totally new Mega Evolution, because this trailer did of course reveal 2 never-before-seen Mega Evolutions for Baxcalibur and somehow more unexpectedly for Chimecho. Actually, both of these are pretty shocking. Chimecho because I never expected it would get a Mega, and much less with a design like this, turning it into a Psychic and Steel type that holds up a giant golden ring resembling its pre-evolution Jingling. And as for Baxcalibur, its design may not be quite as awe-inspiring, but it is of course a Gen 9 Pokemon introduced just 1 game prior, so that means pretty much any Pokemon is viable to get a Mega Evolution now. And there are definitely more coming, as it's been confirmed another Mega Evolution will be revealed in just under 2 weeks, and another one right before the DLC launches, for a total of 6 Mega Evolutions revealed before release if we count the 2 Mega Raichus revealed previously. But there's absolutely going to be more new Megas in the DLC, as we saw a plethora of new Mega Stones in the first trailer, and we see them again in the new trailer, ending with the stones for Baxcalibur and Chimecho, so I am very excited to see the rest. This trailer also officially reveals the Mega Evolutions for Meganium, Feraligatr, and Emboar, which I'm sure you've all seen by now, but one very curious thing I noticed is that they seem to be using the starter signature moves Blast Burn, Hydro Cannon, and Frenzy Plant, which are definitely not in Legends EA. So perhaps the DLC will also be introducing more TMs, or some kind of move tutor. I know Metagross would appreciate having his Meteor Mash back. And finally, we get to see Raichu's Mega Evolutions in-game, as we previously only seen them in CGI, and I must say they look pretty dang cool. I honestly can't decide which one I like more. Going back to the donuts though, they really seem to be the key to this whole DLC. So let's dive even deeper into their holes. Based on the background, it looks like you make them at Hotel Z, but you don't actually feed them to Hoopa immediately. Instead, getting this menu assumedly whenever you interact with one of the hyperspace distortions, where you actually get to choose what donut to give it. You may have noticed in this menu there will actually be different types of hyperspace. This one, for example, being a hyperspace wild zone, and specifically a small one. However, there's no number given like the 20 wild zones in the base game, so it's possible there's no set amount of these, either being totally randomized or at least their location changing every day, much like the battle zones in regular Lumiose. We've already seen quite a few of the potential hyperspace areas like this shopping mall, the Justice Dojo, and around the Lumiose Museum, but it looks like not all of them will be wild zones exactly, as there will likely also be hyperspace battle zones. This is all but confirmed by the missions you receive as soon as you enter hyperspace. In other scenes where we're seen battling wild Pokémon, there are very similar missions. However, when battling trainers, the missions change. And all these missions seem to grant points towards a new type of challenger ticket that's rainbow instead, which is likely how we progress the story. But going back to the Wild Zone missions, to destroy floating Pokeballs, throughout the trailer we see these strange oversized hologram Pokeballs floating around, which you can apparently smash, but I wonder if they drop anything. Some of them sparkle more than others, which I assume means they have better rewards, maybe even Hyper Berries, since it seems those will be pretty crucial to making the better donuts. The other missions are fairly self-explanatory, but the only one I'm really not sure about is this catch window? Or maybe it's referring to that state when Pokemon are kinda dizzy, like you have to catch Pokemon while they're stunned. Actually, I think that's most likely what it means. But there's one more interesting thing I noticed in the hyperspace overlay. That is the stars above the calorie counter. We never once see these stars filling up throughout the trailer, so my guess would be that these stars actually indicate your current level versus the maximum level you can encounter within this specific hyperspace zone. In fact, you can see here that an estimated level of 120 for the zone puts it at 2 stars, and when we enter the wild zone you can see those 2 stars are grayed out, matching the 0 stars of the donut we chose. Meanwhile, in this scene we're at plus level 16, and you can see we actually have 1 star out of 3. So I thought maybe each star represents a range of levels, but here you can see we're at plus 62 and have 3 out of 4 stars filled, which wouldn't match that theory. So maybe it really is like a Pokemon version of GTA. When you alert trainers or wild Pokemon, the stars slowly fill up and the wild zone gets more dangerous. That would actually be pretty cool. Anyway, you may have noticed some other indicators below the calorie count. And based off these symbols, we can guess these are additional bonuses your whole party gets. There are some slightly weirder ones in this scene though, and considering they're green, I assume these are more about catching Pokemon, but we're actually in a battle zone here, so I don't think there's even Pokemon to catch. And there's also this symbol that I don't recognize at all. It looks like the Alpha Pokemon symbol, but also slightly different, so if you guys have any theories, let me know in the comments. But these bonuses also come from the type of donut you feed Hoopa. As you can see, the more basic donuts have no flavor power, but I assume better donuts would show those bonuses in this slot here. And that about covers everything I noticed about Hyperspace itself, so let's finally move on to the story. As usual per Pokemon standards, it seems somehow the appearance of these hyperspace holes is threatening the very existence of our own Lumiose, and it's gonna take the whole gang coming back together to stop it. But alongside them, there's a new face joining Team MZ, or rather a familiar face you might recognize from Pokemon X and Y. Korrina is back, and oh my god, she's taking it all off! Obviously this girl is way more concerned about function than fashion, cause that outfit ain't it. Anyway, there's a lot of Megastones strapped to her body, likely even more around the back that we can't see. And theorists will definitely be running wild trying to match each of these 2 existing Megastones to try and confirm which ones are for Pokemon getting new Mega Evolutions, but we know Megastone's appearance can vastly change if the Pokemon itself changes color, so it's pretty hard to guess. Towards the end of the trailer, we see a team up with our rival and Korrina to take on some unknown threat. And in the background we can see the world is all distorted, like stitched up textures from different parts of the region. Urbane also mentions at some point if there could be some sort of power floating around that's making Pokemon stronger here. All while there's an eerie pink glow throughout the whole of hyperspace. And I think we all know at this point what pink glow means in the world of ZA. So could the power of Angie during the climax of ZA be what's causing even more Megas to appear in Hyperspace Lumiose? Considering the name of this whole DLC, my guess it's somehow still related to Mega Energy. Perhaps even the original Mega Evolution. As I said, I would not be surprised if Rayquaza's somehow behind all of this. But with that, we're finally going to wrap up everything we know and don't know about the Mega Dimensions DLC. Thankfully, we won't have to wait too long for the remaining questions to be answered, as it'll be coming out December 10th, and I will of course be right here playing through it as soon as it does. So don't forget to leave a like if you're excited, and I'll catch you in the next one.